The Legend of Shahmaran. Once upon a time, on the ancient lands of Anatolia, in a region that today lies within the borders of the Tarsus district of the city of Mersin, there lived a serpent known as Shahmaran, the queen of snakes. Shahmaran had the head of a human, in the form of a beautiful woman, but her body was that of a gigantic serpent. For many years, Shahmaran helped humankind with her wisdom and healing powers, and she assigned all the snakes under her command to serve humanity for this very purpose. After a time, people began to desire using all the goodwill and help that Shahmaran offered for their own selfish interests. Because of this greedy, self-serving, and ill-intentioned approach of humankind, Shahmaran decided to no longer share her wisdom with them. She built a new world hundreds of meters beneath the earth and began to live there with all the snakes under her command. The snakes would come to the surface only for their necessities and spend all the rest of their time in Shahmaran's world. No one knew where this new world was located. In those lands lived a young man named Geveşt. In order to support his poor family, he would go to the forest to gather firewood and then sell it at the market to contribute to his household. One day again, together with two friends, they ventured deeper into the forest than usual. Their aim was to gather anything of value they could sell at the market. As they walked through the depths of the forest, they suddenly came upon a well. Until that day, no one had known of this well. When they approached the well and looked inside, they saw that its walls were completely filled with honeycombs. They looked at one another in astonishment and joy. There were so many honeycombs that they began collecting dozens of them. As they descended further into the well, the honeycombs became even more abundant. Filled with excitement, they kept collecting the honeycombs, saying that the more they gathered, the more money they would earn. After a while, as they neared the bottom of the well, they could no longer reach the honeycombs. At that moment, a cunning idea came to the minds of Geveşt's two friends. Let us lower Geveşt into the well with a rope. After we pull the honeycombs up, we will leave Geveşt down there. That way, the share we must divide will be smaller, and more will remain for us, they said. Unaware of this malicious plan and of what awaited him, Geveşt accepted his friend's proposal and descended into the well tied to a rope. He sent the honeycombs he collected up to the surface. Just as the honeycombs were about to run out, his two friends above let go of the rope. After taking the last honeycomb, they left Geveşt at the bottom of the well and quickly departed with all the honeycombs. Geveşt could not understand what had happened. He called out to them, but his two friends had already set off toward the village. Geveşt looked around inside the well and waited helplessly for hours. As evening began to fall, a feeling of unease filled him, and he started to shout. "Help! Help! Someone please help me!" he cried. He was trapped in the well, but the well was so deep in the forest that not only did no one ever come there, but it was also impossible for anyone to hear Geveşt's voice. After darkness fell, panic seized him. As he waited fearfully and hopelessly at the bottom of the well, he suddenly saw a small snake emerge from the earth within the darkness. He immediately pulled out his pocket knife and took a defensive stance, intending to protect himself against the snake. From the place where the snake had emerged, he noticed a faint light. This weak beam of light seeping through a small opening both sparked Geveşt's curiosity and became a ray of hope for him. He began digging toward the light with his knife. As he dug, the light grew stronger. A light, yet with no clear source. When the hole became large enough for him to pass through, he crawled through it toward the light. When he reached the place from which the light came, he could not believe his eyes. There was a vast garden filled with the fragrant scent of colorful flowers. Geveşt was in utter amazement and began to walk forward. The world that welcomed him was so beautiful, such a wondrous realm, that for a moment he thought he might have fallen asleep in the well and entered a dream, yet everything felt entirely real. Eventually, He arrived at a garden with a pool at its center. As the beauty of the pool dazzled his eyes, suddenly snakes of every kind and every color surrounded him. He was terrified and began to walk in another direction to escape them, yet the strange thing was that none of the snakes touched him, bit him, or showed any sign of aggression, not even as they passed beside him. When he reached the end of the path, he nearly lost his mind. Before him, under the light, stood a woman of extraordinary beauty gazing at him, but her face was that of a woman, and her body was that of a serpent. Jamshab did not know what to say. Struck speechless and trembling with fear, he listened as the beautiful woman before him began to speak. "Do not be afraid, human. Welcome. I am Shahmaran, the Queen of Snakes. You have graced my world with your presence, welcome. Then, as my guest, it is my duty to honor you as well," she said. "Move as you wish, no snake may touch you. From this moment on, you are under my protection and are my guest," she said, beckoning Jamshab to come closer. Shahmaran told her story, and Jamshab listened. Jamshab told his story, and Shahmaran listened. Their conversation was so beautiful that days, weeks, and months passed. Such a deep friendship formed between them that Jamshab did not even feel the passage of time. Shahmaran, the Queen of Snakes, gave orders to those under her command, saying, "Feed Jamshab and offer him the finest foods." Jamshab felt as though he were in a dream. He became lost within that mysterious, enchanted world. The love and grace he had never known in his life, he received from Shahmaran's wisdom and affection, until a certain time. After a while, Jamshab began to miss his family and his village. He stood before Shahmaran and told her that she must now let him go, that he missed his mother and father deeply, and that though unwillingly, he wished to leave. Shahmaran was deeply saddened by this, yet she accepted his request. She accepted it, but before he left, she asked Jamshab to promise her something. Jamshab asked what her wish was. Shahmaran spoke thus, "Never tell anyone that you have seen me or this world. And if you are ever to return, let no one know until that time. And never enter a bathhouse, and never undress in the presence of others," she said. Jamshab agreed and gave his word. Shahmaran commanded her snakes, "Accompany Jamshab and take him out of the well so that he may reunite with his village and his family," she said, and they parted in sorrow. When Jamshab returned to his village, and after months and years saw his mother and father again, he felt immense joy. His parents embraced him with tears in their eyes. They asked where he had been all this time, what had happened to him, and why he had left them for so long. Jamshab, of course, said nothing to his family, for he knew he had to remain faithful to the promise he had given Shahmaran. As he had promised, as he had sworn, not a single word left his mouth. Days followed days, months followed months, and after a while, Jamshab buried the days he had spent with Shahmaran and that mysterious world deep within his memory. In the land where Jamshab lived, there was also a king who treated his people well, protected them, and loved them. The people, too, loved and respected their king. One day, news spread that the king of that land was gravely ill. All the physicians, sorcerers, and anyone else in the kingdom did everything they could to restore the king's health, but they could find no cure for his illness. The king also had a vizier. This vizier was a man who practiced sorcery as well. After performing a spell, he told his king that the cure for his illness lay in the flesh of an ancient serpent named Shahmaran. The king said this was impossible, that no one had seen Shahmaran for centuries, and that even if she still lived, they could never learn where to find her. The vizier replied that this was not a secret, that he believed someone who had seen Shahmaran and knew where she lived must still be alive somewhere in the kingdom, and that he knew how to find that person. The king asked with curiosity, and the vizier explained at length. In times past, before Shahmaran turned away from humankind, she would meet with certain sages among people, he said, and continued. Shahmaran possessed such powerful qualities that she left an indelible mark upon anyone who met her. On the backs of these people, in a place they themselves could not see, snake scales would appear, and they would live their entire lives bearing these scales. To find this person, I will issue a decree throughout the land. I will gather every woman and every man in the bathhouses of the kingdom and have their backs inspected by my soldiers. We will surely find this person and bring him to you, my king, he said, and departed the palace. The vizier and his soldiers went from city to city, town to town, village to village, inspecting everyone. When it was time for Jimshab's village, Jimshab, unaware of what was happening, was taken to the bathhouse by the soldiers and began undressing along with the others. As the vizier carefully inspected everyone's backs, he noticed the scales on Jimshab's back and joyfully exclaimed, "We have found him." He ordered his soldiers to seize Jimshab and return to the palace at once. As Jimshab was being taken to the palace, he remembered Shahmaran's warnings. This must be why Shahmaran asked me never to enter a bathhouse or undress before others, to prevent me from being captured, he thought, yet he could not understand the full reason. When they arrived at the palace, the vizier brought Jimshab before the king's sickbed and revealed his back to the king. "Here, my king, as I promised, I have found the one who has seen Shahmaran and knows where she is. Now only one thing remains to end your illness, the flesh of Shahmaran," he said. Jimshab could not believe what he was hearing. Without even fully understanding what was happening, he felt himself drawn into a great trap. If the only cure for the king's illness was Shahmaran's flesh, then this meant Shahmaran's end. He knew he could never do this to a friend who had never harmed him and had loved him dearly, and he resolved never to reveal Shahmaran's location. With her wisdom, Shahmaran had always known all the weaknesses of humankind. She knew that one day, for some reason, Jimshab might reveal her location to others, and that this might be her end. Yet for the sake of Jimshab's pure and innocent heart, she did not give it importance. For days, Jimshab was subjected to painful tortures. No matter what the vizier did, he could not persuade Jimshab to reveal Shahmaran's location. Losing his patience, the vizier had Jimshab's mother and father captured by his soldiers and brought to the palace. Taking a sword in his hand, he threatened Jimshab that if he did not reveal Shahmaran's location, he would kill his parents. Jimshab could no longer endure this pain. It was either his parents' lives or Shahmaran's life, but they were his mother and father. To save their lives, he told the vizier where Shahmaran lived. Taking his soldiers with him, the vizier went to the well Jimshab described. They entered it, passed through the hole Jimshab had opened, and began walking toward the world where Shahmaran lived. When they reached the pool, Shahmaran appeared before them. The soldiers were terrified when they saw Shahmaran and the snakes surround her, but the vizier was resolute. Just as the vizier was about to explain why he had come, Shahmaran began to speak. "I know why you have come here. I have heard that your king is gravely ill. I also know that it was Jimshab who revealed my location. I love that child dearly, and for his sake, I will come with you," she said. She commanded the snakes beside her never to harm the vizier or the soldiers, nor to follow them, and said that she would return one day. They returned to the palace in great secrecy. When they appeared before the king could not believe his eyes. Before him stood Shahmaran, in all her beauty and majesty, smiling. The vizier immediately ordered the palace attendants to begin the preparations. As the preparations continued, Jimshab stood with his head bowed, unable to look Shahmaran in the eyes out of shame and sorrow. Noticing this, Shahmaran approached Jimshab and whispered into his ear. "Jimshab, do not grieve and do not blame yourself. I know that you saved your family's lives by revealing my location, but the one responsible for this is not you, it is the vizier," she said, and continued. "Now they will divide me into 3 parts and cook my flesh in 3 separate cauldrons. From the cauldron in which my head is cooked, you must eat my flesh. Whoever eats the flesh of my head will attain infinite wisdom. From the cauldron in which my body is cooked, feed my flesh to the king. It will cure every illness. And from the cauldron in which my tail is cooked, feed my flesh to the vizier. My tail is poisonous, and the vizier will die the moment he eats it," she said. Jimshab conveyed all of this to the king and the vizier. He explained one by one who must eat which part of Shahmaran's flesh for the healing to occur, and said that only in this way would the king regain his health. The moment had finally come. At the vizier's command, 3 executioners struck Shahmaran with sword blows in 3 places, cutting her apart. As Shahmaran cried out in pain, Jamshab could not bear what was happening, turned his back, and tightly covered his ears with his hands. Then Shahmaran's head, body, and tail were placed into 3 separate cauldrons and cooked. Pieces of flesh from Shahmaran's head, body, and tail were placed on 3 separate plates and presented to the king, the vizier, and Jamshab. Jamshab ate from his plate and placed it on the table. The king ate from his plate and quickly began to recover. The vizier ate from his plate and suddenly collapsed to the ground, dying there on the spot. The king was now restored to health, and Jamshab, having attained infinite wisdom, returned to his village. From that day to this, it is believed that all the wisdom humankind possesses has been told and passed on by Jamshab. And from that day onward, it is believed that all the snakes under Shahmaran's command still wait for her beneath the earth in quietude, emerging to the surface only in times of necessity. And it is feared that if they ever learn that Shahmaran has been killed, they will destroy all of humanity upon the earth.